Dorothy always believed that family would be everything in her golden years. But at 73, she found herself living alone, with distant calls and occasional visits that never filled the silence. It wasn't that her family didn't love her, but they had their own lives, responsibilities, and families to care for. One day, a neighbor told her something shocking. There comes a time when certain things matter even more than family. At first, Dorothy didn't believe it, but as the years passed, she discovered the truth, and it changed everything. Today, we're revealing the 7 things that will shape your happiness, health, and independence far more than family ever could. Let's begin. 1. Your own health, because no one else can protect it. Dorothy used to put everyone else first. Her children, her grandchildren, even her neighbors. She was always the one making sure everyone else was cared for, rarely stopping to ask herself, who is looking after me? She didn't think much about her own well-being until the day she nearly fainted in the grocery store. She had skipped breakfast, hadn't had enough water, and was feeling weak. A kind stranger helped her to a bench, but as she sat there catching her breath, she had a realization. If I don't take care of myself, no one else can do it for me. This is the hard truth. As we age, our health becomes our greatest asset. Family may love you, but they can't keep you strong, mobile, or mentally sharp. That responsibility lies with you. Prioritizing your health isn't about vanity. It's about maintaining your independence, your strength, and your ability to make choices for yourself. Dorothy started small-like. She began stretching every morning, even if it was just for 5 minutes. She started taking daily walks, which improved her energy and mood. She cut back on processed foods, replacing them with nutritious meals that made her feel lighter and more energized. The results? Within weeks, she felt stronger, steadier, and more in control of her own life. If you take care of your body, you won't have to depend on others to do it for you. And that is one of the most freeing realizations you can have. 2. Your home, because it will become your greatest comfort or your biggest burden. At 75, Dorothy began to notice something strange. She was spending more time at home than ever before. In her younger years, she was always on the go, but now she found that her home was where she spent most of her time. But there was a problem. Her house wasn't designed for her current needs. She had too much clutter, furniture that was difficult to navigate around, and a kitchen that was no longer as functional as it once was. The biggest wake-up call came when she tripped over an old rug in her living room. She wasn't badly hurt, but she sat on the floor for a moment, shaken. What if I had fallen harder? What if I had broken something? Who would have found me? That's when she made a life-changing decision. She was going to make her homework for her, not against her. Dorothy got up and started little chores like she decluttered her space, removing items she no longer used or needed. She rearranged her furniture to make walking through her home safer and easier. She installed small safety features like grab bars in the bathroom and brighter lighting in dark hallways. The result? Her home became a place of true comfort and security, rather than a source of stress or danger. For seniors living alone, your home is your sanctuary. It should be a place that supports your independence, not limits it. A well-designed home isn't just about comfort. It's about making life easier and safer so you can enjoy every single day without unnecessary struggles. 3. A strong support network, because you'll need more than family. Dorothy always believed that her family would be her strongest source of support. After all, she had spent decades raising her children, supporting them through every phase of their lives. But as time passed, she noticed something. Her children were busier than ever. They had their own families, careers, and obligations. Calls became less frequent, and visits were often short and rushed. At first, she felt hurt, Had she done something wrong? Was she expecting too much? But then, she realized a truth that many seniors eventually come to understand. Family will always love you, but they can't always be there when you need them. That's when she made a powerful decision. She needed to build her own support system. She joined a local walking group where she met other women her age. She started attending a weekly book club, which gave her something to look forward to. She reached out to neighbors, checking in on them and creating a small community of support. What surprised her most? These people became more present in her daily life than her own family. They understood what she was going through. They shared her experiences. They were there for her without guilt or obligation. Having a strong social network is one of the most powerful predictors of happiness and longevity. Studies show that seniors who maintain friendships and community connections live longer, healthier lives than those who isolate themselves. So if you're feeling disconnected, don't wait for family to reach out. Take the first step. Call an old friend. Join a class, a club, or a group. Get to know your neighbors. Dorothy's life transformed once she stopped waiting for people to check in on her and started actively creating her own circle of support. The best part? These friendships brought her joy, companionship, and a deep sense of belonging. For seniors living alone, your relationships outside of family will shape the quality of your life more than you can imagine. 4. Your daily routine. Because small habits will define your happiness. Dorothy used to wake up without a clear plan for her day. Some mornings, she felt motivated to go for a walk or tidy up the house. Other days, she would sit in her chair with a cup of tea, unsure of how to fill the long hours ahead. She had spent most of her life caring for others, following a routine that revolved around work, raising children, and running a household. But now, in this new phase of life, she realized that she had to create a rhythm that worked for her. It wasn't until she read about the importance of daily habits for mental clarity and emotional well-being that she decided to take action. She realized that her days were feeling long and unfulfilling, not because she was alone, but because she had no structure to anchor her time. One evening, she sat down and wrote out a simple plan like, wake up at the same time every day to maintain a steady rhythm. Start the morning with movement, whether it was a light stretch, a walk, or just standing outside for fresh air. Plan one enjoyable activity daily, reading, gardening, painting, or even listening to music. Schedule connection time, whether it was calling a friend, chatting with a neighbor, or attending a community event. Wind down with an evening routine, a warm bath, journaling, or simply reflecting on the day with gratitude. Dorothy didn't make drastic changes overnight. Instead, she started adding one habit at a time until, before she knew it, her days had shape, purpose, and joy again. The key isn't to fill the day with endless activities. It's about choosing small, meaningful habits that bring a sense of stability and satisfaction. Many seniors struggle with feelings of emptiness after retiring or after their children move away. The secret to avoiding that is to take control of your days instead of letting them slip away. Even if you live alone, a well-crafted routine keeps the mind sharp, the body active, and the heart engaged with life. Dorothy found that she no longer waited for things to happen to her. She created her own joy, one habit at a time. 5. Financial independence. Because money brings freedom. At 71, Dorothy faced a harsh truth. Depending on family financially can limit your choices. She had always managed money well, but as expenses increased and income became fixed, she began to feel a subtle sense of dependence. She didn't like the idea of having to ask for help, justify her spending, or feel guilty about wanting something for herself. The real turning point came when a friend confided in her about a difficult situation. She had moved in with her son's family to save money, but over time, she realized she had lost her sense of freedom. She couldn't decorate her room the way she wanted, had no say in what groceries were bought, and often felt like she had to tiptoe around their schedule. Dorothy knew right then she never wanted to feel trapped financially. She decided to make some smart changes to protect her financial independence. She reviewed her spending and cut out small, unnecessary expenses. She realized she had subscriptions she wasn't using and impulse purchases that added up. She downsized where it made sense. She sold items she no longer needed and considered moving to a smaller, more manageable space that better suited her lifestyle. She explored new income opportunities. Even in retirement, she found ways to earn a little extra money, whether through part-time consulting, renting out a spare room, or selling crafts online. The biggest lesson? Financial independence isn't about having a lot of money. It's about having control over your choices, having enough savings to handle emergencies, cover personal expenses, and even treat yourself to things that bring you joy. Means that you never have to feel like you're asking for permission to live life on your terms. Dorothy also learned that planning ahead relieved stress. She set up automated bill payments, simplified her budget, and ensured she had funds set aside for health expenses. Most importantly, she realized that money isn't just about survival. It's about maintaining dignity and freedom. Now Dorothy doesn't have to ask anyone if she can take a trip, buy a new outfit, or invest in something that improves her quality of life. She is living proof that staying financially independent is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself as you age. Mental and emotional strength, because loneliness can be defeated. Dorothy always thought she was strong. She had raised a family, worked hard, and overcome life's many challenges, but nothing quite prepared her for the emotional weight of living alone. At first, it felt freeing. She could wake up when she wanted, cook whatever she liked, and arrange her day without answering to anyone. But as the months passed, she noticed something she never expected, a quiet emptiness that seemed to follow her around. She would sit down for dinner and feel the silence pressing in. She would reach for the phone, wanting to talk to someone, but hesitate, not wanting to bother anyone. Even with occasional visits from family or chats with neighbors, she still felt a loneliness that ran deeper than just being alone. One night, Dorothy came across an article that said, "Loneliness is more dangerous to health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day." That sentence shook her to the core. She knew she had two choices: wait for someone to fill the empty spaces in her life, or take charge of her own emotional well-being. The next morning, she made a promise to herself. She would start building emotional resilience, no matter how long it took. Then what changed everything for her is so heartwarming, like she practiced self-care. Every morning, she took time to sit in stillness, drink tea, and set a positive tone for her day. She found ways to be present. Instead of focusing on who wasn't there, she immersed herself in books, puzzles, and nature walks. She started journaling. Writing down her thoughts gave her a sense of clarity. Some days, she wrote about gratitude. Other days, she simply let her emotions flow onto the page. She embraced hobbies. Dorothy rekindled her love for painting, something she hadn't done in decades. It gave her a creative outlet that made her feel alive again. Most importantly, she stopped equating being alone with being lonely. She realized that solitude could be a source of peace and self-discovery if she allowed it to be. Loneliness doesn't come from being alone. It comes from not feeling connected. So Dorothy made sure she connected to herself first. Now, when she spends an evening alone, she no longer feels abandoned or forgotten. She has built an emotional strength that allows her to enjoy her own company. The most powerful realization? She doesn't need to wait for someone to fill her days. She is enough. 7. A sense of purpose, because life should always feel meaningful. The hardest part about aging isn't wrinkles, aches, or gray hair. It's waking up with no sense of purpose. Dorothy had spent most of her life with clear responsibilities, raising children, managing a household, working a job. But once those roles faded, she sometimes found herself wondering, what now? She had all the time in the world, yet some days felt empty. She didn't want to simply exist. She wanted to feel useful, excited, and fulfilled. That's when she realized that purpose isn't something you have. It's something you create. Dorothy started small in a way that she volunteered at a local food bank. The first day she helped pack meals, she felt a rush of joy. She was making a difference. She started mentoring younger women in her community. Sharing her life experiences gave her a sense of significance. She began writing letters to old friends. She reconnected with people she hadn't spoken to in years, bringing warmth and laughter back into her life. The change was almost immediate. She felt alive again. She discovered that purpose doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as helping a neighbor, sharing wisdom, or learning something new. Purpose isn't about what you do. It's about how you feel. When you engage in things that make you feel needed, valued, and connected, life takes on new meaning. Purpose evolves. What gave her fulfillment at 40 wasn't the same at 75, and that was okay. Dorothy no longer wakes up waiting for something to happen. She wakes up knowing she has a reason to look forward to the day. For seniors living alone, purpose is the most powerful tool for aging well, because when you wake up with something to do, you stop focusing on what's missing and start embracing all the wonderful things still ahead. The truth is, after 70, your happiness depends on what you build for yourself. Family is important, but these 7 powerful aspects of life will shape your well-being even more. Embrace them, and you'll find greater independence, joy, and peace. What will you focus on first? Share your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for more ways to make life after 70 truly fulfilling.